Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJ Tripp, and welcome to That's a Shoot. This is my weekly show where I talk about the goings on in the world of wrestling. Where I put over three things that I thought were good this week. I buried three things that were bad this week. I should bury myself for burping on camera. I apologize. And then we get into the main topic of the episode. And with that said, let's get things started. As usual, we'll start over with put over and bury. And we start with put over. And the first thing I got to put over, without question, is the whole Brock Lesnar stuff that happened this Monday Night on Raw. First off, the fact that the fact that Brock came out and then he was dancing like he was last week, but then like the music changed. He went to like this like almost hip hop version of his song, and then he had in the ring and oh, it was fantastic. It was just fantastic. I just like many people was. I wasn't down on Brock Lesnar winning the bank like so many other people were, but oh man, it's been so much worth it. If we get more Brock Lesnar dancing like an idiot, I love it. I love it. And also, I have to also put over the This is part of the same one. This is not the second one, but I also have to put over the Money in the Bank announcement when he came out to announce, who he was going to cash in on, and Paul Heyman started to read, and he realized that he only had a year. He could year, and he hit Paul Heyman. I mean, that was good. He took the microphone and he talked. I mean, listen, when and sometimes when Brock Lesnar needs to talk, he can talk. He doesn't need the advocate. A lot of times, it's good to have Heyman because Heyman is the best promo in the biz. But that was fantastic. I loved everything with Lesnar, and it's a Brock party. Let's just say that it's a Brock party. The second thing I need to put over is Cesaro versus Ricochet #2. This was just fantastic from these two. That I gave them credit last week for putting on a good show, and they did it again. I mean, this is what you actually needed. This is what you really wanted to need. This was just fantastic. This is wonderful. Love the finish. So it would really be good if those guys could be, squared up together. And so we'll see. We'll see if they keep this going. If they can get an actual feud going from this, I would really like to see that. And the third thing I have to put over is the 24/7 stuff with R-Truth. I'm loving it. I just love the fact that I love the fact that him and Carmella is running around, and then Carmella jumps on Truth, and then they run. I mean, it's fantastic stuff. It really is. It's fantastic stuff what they did with Truth, and then the stuff with Truth at the end of SmackDown where he lost the title to Alliance, and then after the match he gained it back. So it's fun stuff. This is if they keep doing stuff like this, yeah, it could be fun. Because R-Truth is the perfect person to hold the 24/7 title because he does great comedy, you know. And yes, and R-Truth should be like the Crash Holly of this thing, where maybe he gets beat, but he admitted so that by the end of the year he'll be like a 14, 15 time 24/7 champ, So, and I do believe at some point they probably will end the 24/7 stuff at some point it will get old, and then they will turn it into like another championship. Like they'll make it a television championship, or maybe they'll bring back the European championship or something like that. They will do something to make it more. I don't want to say legitimate, but maybe more of a fun. Well, no, that's not the word either. It'll just be a more prestigious championship. I'll say that. And now to Barry. And the first thing I'm going to bury is people who want to bury WWE. And, there were fools on Twitter that were talking about that, the WWE needs to be worried all because AEW had a pay-per-view. No, they don't. They don't. WWE doesn't need to be worried. WWE needs. I think WWE needs to be worried if AEW gets to the point to where they decide to go head up. Because right now, AEW is going to be on Tuesdays. Going to be on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. They haven't decided yet, but it's going to be Tuesdays or Wednesdays on TNT. And WWE is moving from Tuesdays to Fridays when they move to Fox in the fall. So if the AEW at some point down the line gets to the point to where they are getting enough ratings, they're getting enough pub and everything like that to the point to where they will have the balls to go up against WWE on Monday or on Friday, then yeah, that's when they need to be worried. Because let's be facing, let's be honest. This is this is like the biggest threat to WWE since WCW, and WWE knows it. I think they truly know it. And, I think that as much as WWE diehards like myself and the WWE themselves want to maybe say that AEW isn't a competitor, they are. For no other reason than the fans. The fans want a competitor. The fans are hoping that AEW will make WWE better. I'm sure they are, and I think that for the most part, although there are many fans, and I believe these are fans that were never WWE fans. They were just like people who wanted to go out and watch wrestling, and they had to watch WWE because that was the only thing on basic cable or whatever. They would be, they would never go to the WWE show. They just watch it on TV, but they'd go to like Ring of Honor or any other show that was, put out on. So they just watch WWE because they want to watch wrestling. They're wrestling fans, but they're not WWE fans. And I'm sure those people definitely want AEW to put out WWE, and I do believe there are people in AEW that want to put out WWE, even though they're saying all the right things. You would if you wanted to be an alternative, you wouldn't have tried to make a deal with TNT. You would have gone to some other a smaller network than TNT. You want the same network that got into the wrestling business to try to put them out the first time. So, but that's not all here and there. But people who want to bury the WWE just because AEW had a pay-per-view, a lot of people say it was good. Some people didn't think it was good at all. Some people thought it was maybe in the middle, and so whatever it was, but I do think that the WWE is not buried yet. They're not, and they don't need to worry. The WWE can keep doing what they're doing for the most part. Of course, there are changes that need to be made, obviously, to make a better product and maybe a better overall work environment. And maybe we'll get into that a little later with our main topic. Um, and with another video, I've been talking about that for months, and I need to do that video soon. So, I need to step up my game and do that video soon. But yeah, I think people who are wanting to bury WWE, saying WWE's in trouble, just get over yourselves. They're not in trouble. The next thing I need to bury is The Miz and his thing about being the father. It's surprisingly, this babyface turn has been really good for Miz, and I love it. But he doesn't need to keep talking about how he's a father, and doesn't need to keep talking about his children and his wife and everything like that. That doesn't need to keep happening, because at some point that will get old, and that will and people will start to boo that, because Miz isn't the white meat babyface type. He's not. He's not the white meat babyface type. Ricochet is more of the white meat babyface type, even though I don't believe Ricochet is white. But you know what I mean. He's more of the white meat babyface type. His so glad to be here and I'm doing my best and everything like that. That seems more of what he can do. That seems more of a character for him than it does the Miz. I think the Miz needs to get back to being more Hollywood, just without the arrogance of the of his heel character, and maybe even there still could be a little bit of arrogance in that. It works for Shawn Michaels. Shawn was the same guy when he was as the Heartbreak Kid. When he had his face turned, he was just a little bit more fun loving, with it. His arrogance was toward the bad guys and not the good guys, and that could be the same thing with Miz. His arrogance could be towards the bad guys. So I think you need to stop, with the um, family man baby stuff with the Miz. And finally, um, the fatal 4-way elimination match that really wasn't a fatal 4-way elimination match. So it was billed as a fatal 4-way elimination match. And for some reason, once Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley just went fight thing, the referee decided, well, I'm just gonna eliminate them two. It's down to Miz and Baron Corbin. No, go find them. So I just yeah. That's something that they need to stop doing too with WWE. Just, there was no reason for it to be a fatal 4-way elimination match. If they were going to do that, just make it and actually, to be honest with you, it didn't even need to be that, because if Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley were going to fight at Super Showdown, then just make it a one-on-one match between Miz and Baron Corbin. I don't know. So, whatever. And now for the main topic of the show, we're talking about the I Am Jericho podcast, Chris Jericho's podcast. I Know Jericho is his Twitter account. Chris Jericho's podcast, where it was the Emancipation of Jon Moxley, that's what it was called. And it was Dean Ambrose, a.k.a. Jon Moxley, talking about some of the things that led to his departure from WWE. And there were some things in there. I took some notes and got them right here. And there were some things that I wrote down that I thought were interesting. And he immediately comes out and talks about how he wants to thank WWE for everything they had and everything they did for him and all that other good stuff. But then said that he's going to bury them for 2 hours. So, yeah, he probably isn't too much thankful you're going to bury him. But he was talking about one of the things that that really frustrated him was all of the promos he had to do and all of the scripted promos and things like that. The things that would not make that he, in his opinion, would not. It wouldn't be something that someone you would want to cheer or root for would say. And he talks about, which I think is the Raw after the Survivor Series. He talked about it being in Los Angeles, and Raw was in Los Angeles, and Survivor Series that whole weekend was in Los Angeles. And he talks about how there was 6 promos that he had to do, and he talks about the one live promo where and we all remember this, where there was a line in there about Roman Reigns' cancer, and it was something to the effect that, you know, Roman was going to have to pay, with his, that the Shield was going to have to pay for what they've done, and Seth was going to have to pay, Dean was going to have to pay, and Roman was paying with this cancer. So that's what So and he didn't like it, although and he wanted to get it changed by Vince. So in his words, he said Vince did the Jedi mind trick and told him it was okay to say. And then once he said it, he said, "Oh crap! I can't believe I said that." He does, he couldn't believe it. So that was that. In his words, he said the last straw was the inoculation promo, where he was getting inoculated by a doctor, uh, because he didn't want to be with the fans and things like that. That was his last straw. That's when he knew he was not going to resign. He was really going to leave, even though he had been thinking about it from the past. And when he came back, he had hoped that maybe some things would change and maybe some things would get over it. Some things would change. Maybe he could do some things, but no, that he said that really wasn't the thing. So he said that was the last straw. Um, he said the Monday after the Royal Rumble is when he really got pissed off, because the Saturday of the Royal Rumble he told an agent that he wasn't going to resign, and he told them to go tell Vince and Triple H that he wasn't going to resign, and then that Monday, he had come back and he had realized that he was supposed to do something. He's going to have a match with Seth Rollins, which he did. But then he was going to take a bump for Nia Jax, which he also did. And him and Nia Jax apparently were supposed to do something, but they cut that off really quick. And he thought that maybe that was the start of them going to bury him out of the thing. And on one hand, there's a part of me that says, yeah, that probably isn't cool. If someone is going to leave, they just you should probably let them leave, and either I think the way to quote unquote bury them would be to just keep them off of TV, which he thought that's what they were going to do. He thought that once the match they had with Seth Rollins, he was just going to be off TV, but that's not. They kept bringing him back and kept doing stuff. So, but yeah, that's. I don't think the way to bury him is to try to make him look like a joke and make him look like a fool. But on the other hand, if you are going to leave, then yeah, you should put over talent on your way out. You should put over EC3. You should put over other guys. You should put over Seth. Nia, listen, I'm not about the intergender stuff, so I don't know if he needs to put over Nia, but he should be putting over guys on his way out. I do believe that. That's something that I do believe. As I just watched the first 2 episodes of Dark Side of the Ring, the Macho Man one, which was fantastic, and then the Montreal Screwjob one, which was also plus. And he talk about the time-honored tradition as leaving the company. You're putting over people on your way out. So, I do think that should have. I don't know. They necessarily need to try to bury him. So yeah. So also, apparently, he didn't even look at the contract. When they sent him a contract for re-uppance, he didn't even look at it. He didn't even want to look at it because he knew he was going to go. And I guess that's a reasonable thing, right? Because once you have it in your mind that you leave, if you look in the contract, and if for some reason, and they're making goo gobs of money, if for some reason it's a 3 year $40 million contract, how do you not take that? You know, how do you not take that? No matter if you are creatively stifled or frustrated or whatever, how do you not take a 3 year $40 million contract? So the fact that he didn't look at it, if he was going to go and he didn't want to be there, that was probably the best thing, that he didn't look at the contract. So I thought that was interesting as well. Um, by him going to AEW, one thing he wants to prove, he said he has nothing to prove. If anything, he wants to prove that the WWE creative process sucks, and he wants Vince and everybody to change. And I think, listen, we all are frustrated at times with what they do creatively. Some of us are more frustrated than others. Um, but I don't know if it overall just sucks. I don't know if it's that, because WWE has been around for so long that it can't, and it's probably been that way for as long as Vince is taking over. So it can't suck. It can't suck. So I disagree with Mr. Moxley on that front. But yeah, it probably could be better. They probably do need to let wrestlers have more creative freedom with their characters and their promos in particular. Um, because really, you don't need Roman Reigns saying "suffering succotash," and and I do think that they let some people have creative freedom. Like I've always said, there's no way that they would ever, when Enzo Amore was in WWE, there's no way a writer wrote his stuff. There's no way. And as rumors have been stated, um, near the end of Ronda Rousey's run, she was writing her stuff with Paul Heyman. So, you know, depending on who you are, they will let you be a little bit creative, with your character. But they need to maybe do that with more people, especially some who have specific types of characters, like in certain things. So there's that. Um, he talks about he wants to be better. He wants to get better. He was talking about working out with a trainer, getting his trainer ready. He wants to be better. He wants to be um, an even better performer, better athlete than ever before. He talks about how Jericho, who's 48, is still doing his stuff, and him at 34, I believe he said he was. He said he wants to get better. He wants to do it as long as Jericho's done it. So he wants to get better. He wants to get in better shape, be a better athlete. Also says he doesn't care about the WWE, which is, I think, which is maybe the most contradictory thing in the world, because as he said, he was going to spend 2 hours burying him, which is what he did. So if he didn't care about the WWE, he didn't need to talk about it. He shouldn't have talked about it. But he cares about WWE in some form or fashion. Yeah, it's like the thing with the ex. I don't care about my ex. Well, and then you start Googling, you start Facebooking, following, stalking them on Facebook, seeing what they're doing. Looking at their Twitter and Instagram, see how they look. Well, yeah, you care. Yeah, you do care. So, yeah, it's especially the way with you bury. If you didn't care, you just could have said, I don't want to talk about the stuff that went on there. I really didn't. I don't want to talk about stuff. I want to talk about stuff that's going on in the future, other new projects I'm doing. So, and the final thing that I thought was interesting is that he filmed the Jon Moxley stuff that came out at midnight on his Twitter account. He said that he filmed that um, back in February. He had a friend who also was in the wrestling business. I forget his name, but So that's how all of that great production. A lot of people, a lot of people were thinking that was from AEW's on side. There were some people even thinking that this was from the WWE side, that WWE did it. But no, he has a friend in the film world that helped them do that, and they came up with that. And even now, the fact that apparently they filmed another trailer uh, that will be coming out soon. It might even been the New Japan thing that came out. But now also he's going to be doing a movie actually, because he liked it so much. So yeah, those were the points, at least for me, that I thought from the interview. I thought that were very interesting and very polarizing in my eyes. And I've said, like I said, I mentioned earlier. I said this before. I have to do. I have to just sit down and do the video about the WWE changes that need to happen, that need to do like this, and that need to happen. And some of the things he talked about, I think maybe would need to be changed, but some things I don't need to be changed. Like he did talk about how one thing, he talked about how Vince sent him a note. He was trying to get a thing changed about a pooper scoop, and he didn't tell Vince. He asked the writer to change it, and they get it changed. But before before that was sent in to be changed, he got a note saying that the dean needs to know, needs to read the promo verbatim, and that's something that I don't know that needs to be happening. I don't think, they don't need to have a promo verbatim, and it needs to be. I think it needs to be bullet points. I think that's the way I go. So all in all, I thought this was a very interesting podcast. I thought this was a very, I think it gave some insight as to why Dean Ambrose left WWE, and he's become Jon Moxley. And I also think this sheds some light onto why there might be other people in WWE frustrated, wanting to leave and turning down millions of dollars. The Revival, the Gallows and Anderson, and a few others who have just turned down millions upon millions of dollars to get out of their contract. So just a little behind the scenes there. I think if you haven't heard it, you should go hear it. Although I would also say, one, don't go to Spotify, because I tried Spotify. Spotify was terrible. You could try to find it somewhere else. And there was definitely some things that I've heard this before, but there were some things. A lot of people said this on Twitter. You can see that during the interview, they would cut and then they would intervene with a Chris Jericho commercial for Omaha Steaks or something like that. So I find that to be kind of funny as well. So yeah, post your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think. You have any thoughts on my putovers, any thoughts on my berries, or any thoughts about the Jon Moxley podcast? Did you hear it? What did you think? What are your opinions? Let me know down in the comment section. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. This is your boy, AJ Tripp, signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.